I still remember the exact moment. It all fell apart. 3 years with Jessica living together in my apartment planning our future. Then suddenly she said she needed space. Needed to go on a solo retreat to clear her mind. 2 weeks with no contact. I respected that until I saw the photos on social media. There she was in Bali with her ex Adam. The betrayal cut deep, but I decided to respect her need for space in my own way. Before I tell you how I completely transformed my life after this shocking betrayal, let me know where you are watching from and share if you have ever been through something similar. Hit that like button if you believe self-respect should always come first. I met Jessica at a coffee shop in downtown Seattle 3 years ago. I was working as a software engineer at a tech startup, spending my lunch breaks coding at this quiet corner cafe, with excellent espresso. Jessica walked in one rainy Tuesday looking for shelter from the downpour. All the tables were full, except for the empty chair across from me. She approached with a warm smile that immediately caught my attention. "Mind if I share your table? I promise I will not disturb your work," she said. Her voice had a musical quality to it, and I found myself closing my laptop, suddenly uninterested in the debugging problem I had been obsessing over all morning. "Please go ahead. I could use a break anyway," I replied, surprising myself with my eagerness to talk to this stranger. Jessica worked in marketing for a fashion brand, she told me. Her animated descriptions of creative campaigns and brand storytelling fascinated me, so different from my world of algorithms and coding. What surprised me most was when she asked for my number before leaving. "I would love to continue this conversation over dinner sometime," she said confidently. I had always been the shy one who struggled to make the first move, so her directness was refreshing. Our first date was that weekend, a dinner at a small Italian restaurant, followed by a walk along the waterfront. Our relationship progressed quickly after that. We seemed perfect together, her creative spirit complementing my analytical mind. We enjoyed hiking the trails around Washington State, exploring new restaurants, and quiet evenings, watching obscure documentaries. After a year of dating, it made sense for Jessica to move into my apartment. Her lease was ending, and she mentioned struggling financially with the rising rents in the city. I wanted to help Jessica in every way I could. When her old car finally broke down beyond repair, I offered to buy her a new one. Nothing fancy, just a reliable used Honda that would get her safely to work and around town. Since her credit score was not great, I put the car in my name with the plan to transfer ownership once she rebuilt her credit. It seemed like a small thing to do for someone I loved and saw a future with. The first signs of trouble were subtle. Jessica would occasionally mention her ex-boyfriend Adam, usually in the context of how terrible their relationship had been. According to her, Adam was controlling and had anger issues. She said he constantly checked her phone and criticized her friends. I felt protective and sympathetic, comforting her when these memories surfaced and assuring her that our relationship would always be built on trust and respect. I helped Jessica work through the psychological aftermath of that toxic relationship. I encouraged her to reconnect with friends she had lost touch with during her time with Adam. I supported her when she wanted to switch jobs to a better company with more growth potential. I thought we were building something special, something lasting. By our third anniversary, I was ready to propose. I had saved for months to buy the perfect ring, a sapphire surrounded by small diamonds that matched the blue of her eyes. I planned a weekend getaway to Napa Valley, where I would ask her to marry me during a private hot air balloon ride at sunrise. Jessica seemed excited about our future, too often talking about the house we would buy together someday, and even discussing potential names for our future children. I never imagined that all our plans would unravel so suddenly and painfully. 2 weeks before our planned trip to Napa, I noticed Jessica becoming increasingly distant. She spent more time on her phone, quickly locking the screen whenever I entered the room. She stayed late at work several times a week, citing a big marketing campaign that needed her attention. When we were together, she seemed distracted, often asking me to repeat things I had just said. I tried to talk to her about it, worried that she might be stressed or unhappy. "Is everything okay? You seem preoccupied lately," I asked one evening as we were getting ready for bed. "Everything is fine. Just tired from work," she replied, not meeting my eyes. Then came the conversation that blindsided me. It was a Tuesday evening and I had just gotten home from work. Jessica was sitting on the couch looking serious and determined. "Phil, we need to talk," she said, her voice unusually firm. I sat down feeling a knot of anxiety form in my stomach. "What is it? I need some space," she said. "I have been feeling overwhelmed lately, and I think I need time to myself to clear my head." I was confused, but tried to be understanding. "Okay, should we cancel our weekend plans? Take a break from date nights for a while?" "No, I mean I need more significant space," she clarified. "I want to go away for a couple of weeks by myself. No contact. I just need to reset and think about what I want." The request seemed extreme, but I reminded myself about her past relationship with Adam. Maybe she needed this kind of independence to feel secure. Maybe this was part of her healing process. "Where will you go?" I asked, trying to keep my voice neutral despite the alarm bells ringing in my mind. "I have been thinking about a meditation retreat," she said. "Somewhere quiet where I can reflect. Just 2 weeks. I will be back before you know it." Despite my concerns, I agreed. "If that is what you need, I understand. I will be here when you get back." Jessica left the next morning with a large suitcase, kissing me briefly on the cheek before walking out the door. "Remember, no contact. I need this time completely to myself," she reminded me. I watched her go, feeling a strange sense of foreboding. The first week without Jessica was difficult. The apartment felt empty and too quiet. I threw myself into work during the day and spent evenings with friends to avoid the loneliness. True to my word, I did not call or text her. I respected her need for space even though every instinct told me something was wrong. My friends Mike and Sarah invited me over for dinner that Friday, clearly concerned about my situation. "It just seems weird, man," Mike said, as we sat on his balcony after dinner. 2 weeks of no contact. Who does that in a serious relationship? People process things differently. I defended, though my own doubts were growing. She had a controlling ex. Maybe this is important for her. Sarah exchanged a look with Mike. "Has she told anyone where this retreat is? Have any of her friends mentioned it?" I realized I had no idea. Jessica's friends had not reached out to me, which seemed odd if they knew she was away on a personal retreat. The truth came crashing down the next morning when Mike texted me. "Check this out. Sorry, buddy." Attached was a screenshot from Instagram. One of Jessica's friends had posted a photo at a luxury resort in Bali. In the background, unmistakably, was Jessica sitting at a beachside bar with a man, his arm around her waist. My hands shook as I zoomed in on the image. The man was Adam, her supposedly terrible ex-boyfriend. They were clearly not at any meditation retreat, and they were clearly more than friends. I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. The betrayal was so complete, so calculated. She had lied to my face, created an elaborate story about needing space all so she could vacation with her ex. I sat staring at my phone, unable to process the depth of the deception. Acting on a hunch, I opened Jessica's laptop, which she had left behind. She usually kept her email logged in. There they were, dozens of messages between her and Adam going back 2 months. They had reconnected at a mutual friend's wedding, where apparently old feelings resurfaced. The emails were intimate and explicit, making it clear they had been meeting secretly for weeks. I kept digging now, determined to understand the full scope of the betrayal. Our shared credit card statements revealed purchases I had not noticed. Gifts sent to an unfamiliar address, dinner reservations, at restaurants. We had never visited together a hotel booking downtown. From a night Jessica claimed to be working late. The most painful discovery was a confirmation email for the Bali resort booked over a month ago. This was no impulsive trip, no momentary lapse in judgment. Jessica had been planning this elaborate deception for weeks, while I was saving for an engagement ring and planning our future. The realization that the woman I loved had been systematically lying to me, using my money to fund her affair, and planning to string me along indefinitely, was overwhelming. I spent that night pacing the apartment, alternating between rage, grief, and disbelief. I could not sleep. Every memory of our relationship was now tainted. Every moment of happiness called into question. Had she been thinking of him when she was with me? How long would the charade have continued if her friend had not accidentally exposed her in that photo? The following days passed in a blur of pain. I called in sick to work, unable to focus on anything beyond the constant replay of every red flag I had missed. Friends called to check on me, but I barely registered their concern. The betrayal consumed me, a constant ache that felt physical in its intensity. By the fourth day, something shifted. As I stared at the ceiling at 3 a.m, a sense of clarity began to replace the chaos of emotions. Jessica had asked for space. Perhaps it was time I gave us both the space we truly needed permanently. Once I made the decision to take action, a strange calm settled over me. This was no longer about reacting emotionally. This was about reclaiming my self-respect and setting clear boundaries. My first step was to consult with a lawyer. I needed to understand my legal position regarding our shared assets, particularly the car that was in my name, but that Jessica had been driving. The attorney confirmed what I suspected: the vehicle was legally mine, and I had every right to sell it if I chose to. "The apartment is in your name only, correct?" the lawyer asked. "Yes. I owned it before she moved in," I confirmed. "And there is no written agreement regarding her residency or any financial contribution to the mortgage?" "No, nothing formal. She pays me a small amount each month, but it is much less than market rent." The lawyer nodded. "Then, legally speaking, she is essentially a month-to-month tenant without a lease. You are within your rights to change the locks, though I would recommend storing her personal belongings safely and making them accessible to her." Armed with this information, I faced a moral dilemma. Was I being petty vindictive? I spent a full day weighing the ethics of what I was considering. In the end, I decided that self-respect was not petty, and establishing consequences was not vindictive. Jessica had made her choice. Now, I would make mine. I called a locksmith the next morning. Within hours, all the locks in the apartment had been changed. I gathered all the spare keys I had given to Jessica over the years and stored them in a drawer, relics of a trust now broken. Next came the car. I contacted a dealership about selling the Honda. They offered a fair price, and I accepted immediately. The paperwork was completed within 2 days. I transferred the money to a new account, one Jessica had no access to. The empty parking space in our building's garage was a visual reminder of the finality of my decision. I carefully packed Jessica's clothing, jewelry, books, and personal items into cardboard boxes, labeling each one clearly. I was not angry as I did this. Instead, I felt a strange detachment, as if handling the belongings of someone I had never really known. The boxes went into the building's storage unit, where she could access them when she returned. I notified the building management about the situation, explaining that Jessica would no longer have apartment access, but should be allowed to retrieve her stored belongings. The manager was understanding, having dealt with relationship breakups before. "We will need to update the resident list," she said, "and she will need to turn in her building access fob." "I understand. Thank you for your help," I replied, another loose end, neatly tied. The financial entanglements were next. Jessica and I had opened a joint checking account for household expenses, though we had maintained our separate primary accounts. I visited the bank and closed our shared account, transferring my portion back to my individual account. I canceled the supplementary credit card I had given Jessica on my account, cutting the plastic card into tiny pieces. I methodically went through every automatic payment, removing any that were for Jessica's personal expenses. I changed the passwords on all my accounts from Netflix to my investment portfolio. With each digital tie severed, I felt more in control, more like myself again. The reactions from our social circle were mixed. My closest friends, Mike and Sarah, fully supported my decisions after seeing the evidence of Jessica's betrayal. They helped me rearrange the apartment, removing photos of Jessica and repositioning furniture to make the space feel different, more mine. "I am proud of you, Phil," Sarah told me, as we hung a new piece of art where a photo of Jessica and me had once been. "You are handling this with dignity." My family was initially shocked by the suddenness of it all. My mother, always the peacemaker, urged caution. "Are you sure this is not something you two can work through?" she asked during our weekly phone call. "Everyone makes mistakes." "This was not a mistake, Mom," I explained patiently. "This was a calculated deception. She planned this for weeks, maybe months. She lied to my face while using my money to fund her affair." After hearing the full story, even my mother agreed that I was making the right choice. "I just want you to be happy, Phil. If this is what you need to do, then I support you completely." Not everyone was so understanding. Some mutual friends suggested I was overreacting, that I should at least talk to Jessica before making such drastic changes. A few even took Jessica's side, believing whatever story she might have told them about our relationship. I lost several friends in the process, but I realized they had never really been my friends to begin with. True friends would not defend such a betrayal, or suggest I should simply accept being treated with such disrespect. As the day of Jessica's expected return approached, I prepared myself mentally for the confrontation that would surely come. I rehearsed what I would say, determined to remain calm and factual rather than emotional. I enlisted Mike to be present in the building when she arrived, both as a witness and as moral support. "Just stick to the facts," he advised. "Do not let her manipulate you or turn this around on you." I had also started seeing a therapist to help process the trauma of the betrayal and to ensure I was making decisions from a place of self-respect rather than revenge. Dr. Taylor helped me understand that maintaining boundaries was essential for my healing process. "What you are doing is not about punishing Jessica," she explained during one session. "It is about protecting yourself and establishing that there are consequences for violating trust so completely." By the time Jessica's 2-week retreat was nearing its end, I was emotionally prepared for whatever came next. The apartment was secured, her possessions were safely stored, the car was sold, and our finances were disentangled. I had done everything necessary to protect myself, while still ensuring she would have access to her belongings. Now I waited. Jessica returned exactly 14 days after she left, just as she had said she would. I was in the building lobby talking with Mike when she walked through the front doors, her face relaxed and tanned from her Bali getaway. The moment she saw me, her expression shifted from vacation contentment to uncertainty. "Phil, what are you doing down here?" she asked clearly, not expecting to find me waiting. "I figured we should talk before you go upstairs," I said calmly. "Your key will not work anymore." Her expression changed from confusion to shock. "What? What are you talking about?" "I changed the locks," I stated simply. "Your things are packed and in storage unit 12. The building manager has the access code." Jessica stared at me, processing my words. "You changed the locks? Why would you do that? I told you I needed space, not that I was moving out." I maintained my composure. "I saw the photos, Jessica. I know you were in Bali with Adam. I read the emails. I know everything." Her face paled beneath her tan. For a moment she seemed at a loss for words, then quickly shifted to defense. "You went through my emails. You invaded my privacy. That is exactly why I needed space from you. You are controlling just like Adam used to be." I had anticipated this attempt to flip the narrative. "I respected your request for no contact. I did not call or text once. But when I saw a photo of you with Adam at a resort, I did look for answers, and I found them. 2 months of emails, hotel receipts, gifts purchased on our shared credit card." Mike stood silently nearby, his presence preventing Jessica from creating a scene or twisting my words later. "Where is my car?" she demanded, changing tactics. "I sold it," I replied. "It was in my name." This news hit her harder than the changed locks. "You sold my car. How am I supposed to get around? All my things were in that car." "The car was legally mine," I explained. "I removed your personal items before selling it. They are with your other belongings in the storage unit." Jessica's shock gave way to tears, whether genuine or tactical. I could not tell. "How could you do this?" "I made one mistake. We were together for 3 years. This was not one mistake." I corrected her. This was hundreds of decisions day after day to lie to me, to use me, to betray my trust while planning a future together. You asked for space, and I am giving it to you. Permanent space. She shifted again from accusation to pleading. Phil, please. I made a terrible error in judgment. Adam and I, it was nothing serious. It was just closure. I realized during the trip that you are the one I want to be with. Please, can we talk about this? We are talking now, I said. But nothing you say can undo what you did. I will make it up to you, she promised, stepping closer, her voice softening. I know I hurt you and I am so sorry, but we can work through this. People make mistakes in relationships all the time. This was not a mistake, I repeated. This was a choice. Multiple choices made day after day. And now I am making my choice. Jessica spent the next 30 minutes cycling through tactics from tears to anger to bargaining. She accused me of never truly loving her then. Minutes later insisted that our love was strong enough to overcome this obstacle. She blamed Adam for pursuing her, then blamed me for being emotionally distant, creating the conditions for her affair. Throughout it all, I remained calm, neither arguing nor engaging with her attempts to emotionally manipulate me. Finally, when it became clear I would not budge, she asked the question I had been waiting for. Where am I supposed to go? That is for you to figure out, I replied. You managed to plan a secret vacation to Bali. I am sure you can plan your living arrangements. The final blow came when Jessica tried to call Adam, presumably to ask if she could stay with him. From the one-sided conversation I could overhear, it became clear that Adam was not interested in having her move in. Their romance, it seemed, was better suited to secret rendezvous and exotic vacations than real-life commitment. Jessica left the building with just her suitcase, calling a rideshare to take her to a friend's place. As the car pulled away, Mike put his hand on my shoulder. You did good, Phil. That could not have been easy. It had not been easy, but it had been necessary. In the weeks that followed, Jessica made several attempts to reconcile. She sent lengthy email apologies. She had mutual friends plead her case. She even sent back the sapphire engagement ring I had hidden in my drawer, which she must have discovered before leaving for Bali, with a note saying she would have said yes. I returned the ring to the jeweler and used the refund to book a solo trip to Portugal, a country I had always wanted to visit but Jessica had never been interested in. The first weeks in the apartment alone were challenging. I found myself listening for the sound of her key in the door, expecting to see her face across the dining table, reaching for her in the middle of the night. The ghost of our relationship lingered in every corner. But gradually the pain began to recede. I joined a support group for people dealing with betrayal in relationships. The stories I heard there helped me realize I was not alone, and the progress others had made gave me hope for my own healing. I focused on my work, earning a promotion I had been working toward for months. I reconnected with old friends who had drifted away during my relationship with Jessica. I rediscovered hobbies I had set aside, like playing guitar and weekend hiking trips. 6 months after Jessica's return from Bali, I felt ready to consider dating again. I was cautious, moving slowly, vigilant for red flags I might have previously ignored. I met Amanda at a friend's dinner party. She was straightforward and honest, refreshingly direct about her past relationships and what she was looking for in a partner. Our connection developed, gradually built on a foundation of transparent communication. I told her about my experience with Jessica early on, not as a way to gain sympathy but to explain why trust and honesty were so important to me. Amanda appreciated my openness and matched it with her own. We have been dating for 3 months now, taking things one day at a time. I am not rushing to move in together or plan a future, though I can see the potential for something lasting. The difference is that now I understand the importance of seeing someone for who they truly are, not who I want them to be. The most valuable lesson from my experience with Jessica was learning the importance of self-respect and boundaries. Love should never require you to compromise your dignity or accept disrespect. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to walk away from someone who does not value you. I no longer harbor anger toward Jessica. I understand that her actions reflected her own issues and insecurities, not my worth as a partner. In a strange way, her request for space gave me exactly what I needed: the space to rediscover my strength, my values, and ultimately, my happiness. Sometimes the space someone asks for becomes the gift you never knew you needed to find yourself again. And for that unexpected gift, I can almost be grateful. Have you ever had to make a difficult decision to prioritize your self-respect in a relationship? How did you handle betrayal or disrespect from someone you loved? Share your story in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe to hear more real-life experiences. Remember that you deserve respect and honesty in every relationship. Thank you for listening, and I wish you the courage to stand up for yourself when it matters most.